Well, hello there. It is Dr. Siobhan here with Relatable, and I am so glad to be continuing part two of my series on surrender and how to surrender. I shared the other day that this was a concept that I am personally working on, and I just wanted to come on and sort of share with you some of the steps and tips and tricks and breakthroughs I've been having in this topic. So if you're watching this broadcast and you struggle with letting go and not trying to control things and just sort of like going with the flow, then I encourage you to stay right here. And I also encourage you to actually share this broadcast with another friend on your timeline, whatever the case may be, because I feel like this is a topic that no matter where you are in life, what stage of life you're in, no matter what you're on, we can all do a better job of surrendering, of really being in a place of peace and total complete trust that everything is being taken care of for us. So because it's so important, I'm actually going to be sharing it. I have a private Facebook group called Happily Married Women. So if you're not in there, I encourage you to join me there as well, because I do different posts and different live streams there as well. But I want to make sure that the folks in that group can tune in live if they happen to be on Facebook right now. So I'm going to do that, and I encourage you, again, share this broadcast with those you love and those you care about, because we can all benefit from being able to surrender. So the other day in part one, I talked about trusting that God's plan is better than your plan. And so I'm not going to go into all of the details of that, but it's really foundational that at the end of the day, you recognize, one, that there's a higher power that actually has your highest good in mind all the time, right? So God is all-knowing. He knows our end before our beginning. And when we make decisions, when we try to control things, we only have limited eyesight, right? We only see what's in front of us. Maybe we're projecting a few years out, but He can look in the blink of an eye at our entire lifespan, and that the decisions and the things and the goals that we are trying to achieve now may make perfect sense to us given what our reality is, but that He's seen far beyond that, and that His plan for us, even in our present moment, is so much better than anything we could conceive of in our own mind. So that's sort of the point of part one, was really to trust and believe that God's plan is better than our plan. I know it's hard, but I just really want you to soak that in. And if you didn't get a chance, definitely look through the videos here on this page and find that part one that talks about, again, trusting that God's plan is better than our plan. So I want to tell you a story today. It's kind of funny. It happened to me this morning. I was driving my daughter to daycare, and we hit a stretch of road that normally is free of traffic. But for some reason today, there was like an enormous amount of traffic, like bumper to bumper traffic. This was like a back road, almost in a sort of semi-residential area, and the road was backed up so far. And it was one of those things, and I'm sure you've had this experience too, where you run into traffic unexpectedly and you're like, what happened? Like maybe there's an accident, maybe a road is closed, who knows, right? And depending on where you are with your own time, you either have the patience to sort of wait it out and see it through, or you get really frustrated and you make a U-turn and try to find a better way to get to where you're going. So as I'm sitting in the line of traffic today, I noticed all of the cars that made that decision that were like, I don't have time to see what's going on with this traffic situation. All I know is that there's bumper to bumper traffic right now, and I'm going to find a better way to get to where I'm going. So there they are in the middle of the road, making illegal U-turns, causing all kinds of chaos to get out of this mess that they feel, to get out of this traffic jam and this roadblock that's not enabling them to go where they had in their mind to go. And I decided to stick it out. I was like, well, let me just see. Like, let me make it this far, and then maybe I can like peek around this corner and see what's happening with this traffic. And I thought about all the times before where I would have been one of those cars, right? Making that U-turn and being like, oh no, I got to get out of this traffic. and trying to find my own different route to get to where I was going, because I thought that that would be faster than remaining stuck in this place where it seems like I wasn't moving at all. And lo and behold, and I'm sure you've experienced this too, that sometimes when you create your own detour, like it ends up taking longer than if you had just stayed the course where you were going in the first place. So all of that to say that, I get to the corner and I'm like, okay, it looks like just, they're doing some construction, that the police cars are, stopping one side of the traffic so the other cars can go and all of that stuff. And what occurred to me, it was like, when we're sitting in this place where we're stuck, we're not aware of what's happening down the line to prepare us to go where we want to go. And so I bring that to you because the principle today that I wanted to share was that in order to be able to surrender, and I want to get this right because I wrote it down and I wrote it exactly how it really, really made sense to me. And so what I wrote was, it's being able to trust that it's being handled even when it seems like you've hit a roadblock. So being able to surrender is to trust that whatever your situation is, that it's being handled and it's being worked on, even though it seems like you've hit a roadblock. And that's exactly what happened this morning, right? So what was happening that none of us could see as we're stuck in bumper to bumper traffic were the policemen directing the traffic, making a way, clearing the space, making a path, creating an opportunity for us to pass through more easily than if they weren't there, right? So a lot of things had to be put in place. A lot of coordination had to happen in order for us drivers in that moment to have a smooth flow to our ultimate destination. And so it is with the things of our life, the desires of our heart that we've given over to God, that may be seeming like they're taking so much longer than we anticipated, so much longer than we would prefer. And it seems like nothing is happening. It seems like we're just completely stuck, that everywhere we look, there's like a barrier or a roadblock or something preventing us from achieving what it is that we are trying to accomplish in our life. It's something getting in the way of us having the things that we desire in our heart, whether that's in our marriages, our professional career, other aspects of our lives. And what I just wanted to come on and share as we think about this concept of surrendering is that at some point, right, even when you have evidence of the contrary, even when it seems like nothing is happening at all, you have to rest in your faith and know that it's being handled, right? And I think about Scandal, for those of you who watch it, right? Olivia Pope is notorious for saying it's being handled. And we look at that as like a power move when she says, and it's like, when she says it's being handled, it's being handled. And I believe that God is telling us just the same, like the things that we've been praying about, the things that we've been, dreaming about and hoping and praying will come to pass in our life, like it's being handled. And our timeline is not his timeline. His ways are not our ways, right? His ways are higher than our ways because he can see so much farther into the future. He knows the people that he needs to put in place, the doors that he needs to open. It's sort of like a domino effect, right? It can't just snap. We can't just snap our fingers and expect that all of a sudden all these doors are going to be open, or the people in our lives are going to finally, respond to us the way that we want to, or that our marriages are going to turn around overnight, right? There needs to be things in place, experiences and circumstances and situations that need to happen in a particular order so that what it is that we are praying for and believing God for can take place and it can have the fullness that we are wanting, right? And so again, I just want to encourage you to consider and ask this question, do you trust God enough to handle it, right? When you ask for it, do you trust that, one, he heard you, and two, that he's making moves to put things in place for you to have it? And we grow so impatient. I am guilty of this all the time. We grow so impatient that we're like, okay, God, it should be happening by now, or I should at least have this milestone, or I should at least be seeing some sort of progress, and it seems like you're totally stuck, right? That you're caught at this stop sign, at this red light where it seems like nothing is happening. And I just want to encourage you, and I just want to remind you that it's being handled, that God is working on your behalf, that it is his desire, his good pleasure to give you the things that you take to him in prayer, right? He doesn't want to withhold any good thing from you. You are his child, and he wants you to have an abundant life. And it's not on our timeline, but it's all on his timeline, which is perfectly timed. And so, in order to surrender, number one, you have to trust and believe that God's plan is better than your plan. And number two, which is what we're talking about today, is you have to trust and believe that it's being handled, even when it seems like you have hit a roadblock. That's your time to pause. That's your time to recommit to your faith. That's your time to thank God in advance that it's still happening, even though you can't see it moving. So that is something that I am personally practicing in my own life right now, something that I wanted to just come on and share with you. And so let me know what you think. Let me know how this spoke to you. Let me know where you struggle in this area. And definitely look out for me and join me for part 3. I'd like to promise you that it's going to be tomorrow, but many of you know I have very small children, and so, life is a little bit chaotic, and so I don't want to make a commitment that I cannot follow through on, but there will be a part 3. I don't even know how many parts there are. I'm like literally surrendering to this process and really trying to tune in to be led to just give you bite-sized chunks, right? Because if I were to give you 10 steps, you get all confused. And so what I really want you to do is just enter into this place of trusting that it's being handled, even when it feels like you've hit a roadblock. That every roadblock is not a delay, but that it's a detour to something even better sometimes. But we stay stuck over here looking for it to be a certain way or looking for it to happen on a certain timeline, that sometimes we unconsciously close ourselves off for what God is trying to hand us, right? So again, take your hands off the wheel, relax, let God handle it, and trust and believe that it's being handled. He's got it. He's got it. Thank you so much for tuning in. If you found this helpful, please share it, right? We're all hoping and waiting for something in our lives, in some aspect of our life. And if this message of surrender can help someone enter a little bit more peace and calmness and trust and faith in God, then let's be part of that journey for them by sharing this video. Thank you so much for tuning in, and I will be back with you sometime really soon for part 3. Have a great night.